The following video covers important service and maintenance reminders when replacing your CAT engine-mounted air compressor. This video consists of two sections. Section 1, Air Compressor Overview, and Section 2, Air System Maintenance. Hit pause when you need to. Required tooling. Remember, be safe. Section 1, Air Compressor Overview and Installation Prep. Caterpillar has released a new flexible inlet line upgrade for your air compressor. This improved inlet line prevents the inlet port threads of your air compressor from being damaged due to vibrations of the engine. Step 1. Back off the nut on the fitting. Step 2. Hand tighten the elbow as far as the fitting will allow. Step 3. In the counterclockwise direction, back off the fitting to the required angle. Step 4. Tighten the nut on the fitting to the correct Newton meters. Important: do not over-torque the intake fitting. Section 2. Air System Maintenance. Before installing the new air compressor, inspect the following air system components to avoid repeat failures. Number 1. Air intake filter air supply lines. A dirty filter or restricted inlet lines will affect compressor performance. The restricted conditions may cause the air compressor to exhaust an excessive amount of oil and cause premature damage to the air compressor. Inspect all air inlet lines for restrictions and contamination. Clean or replace lines if these conditions exist. Replace the filter if the filter is dirty or damaged. Refer to the applicable parts manual for the appropriate air filter. Number 2. Inlet check valve, ICV. The inlet check valve is installed on some engines upstream of the air inlet hose. This valve helps to prevent the air compressor from passing oil. Remove and inspect the valve for proper function. Inspect the valve for damage and any signs of debris. If any of these conditions exist, clean or replace the ICV. Number 3. Governor. The governor works in conjunction with the air dryer and compressor to build the correct pressure. If the governor is damaged or not working properly, it can prevent the compressor from building pressure correctly. It is highly recommended to replace the governor and the air dryer when you replace your air compressor. Number 4. Air dryer. The condition of the air dryer exhaust is a good indicator of the presence of oil carryover from the compressor. Examine the air dryer exhaust, normally an exhaust silencer. It is normal if the surface of the exhaust and the surrounding area is covered by a light film of oil and dirt. If there is more significant oil presence or any signs of oil dripping from the exhaust, then an oil carryover problem exists. Check the valves in the brake system to establish if any oil has reached these. If it has, they will need to be serviced or replaced to maintain correct function of the braking system. Number 5. Engine oil dipstick. If the air dryer check yields that the compressor is passing excessive oil, check the condition of the engine oil dipstick. If the dipstick is found to be in a partially lifted or loose condition, this is an indicator of excessive engine crankcase pressure. Excessive engine crankcase pressure prevents oil from returning from the compressor back to the engine sump. This causes the oil to be exhausted from the compressor discharge. Also, confirm that the engine oil level is not filled above the maximum level. Number 6. Crankcase breather. As discussed in the previous section, excessive engine crankcase pressure can cause the compressor to pass oil. Confirm that the crankcase breather is not clogged or dirty. Repair or replace any ventilation components as necessary. Number 7. Oil supply and return lines. An air compressor's oil supply or return line's internal diameter can reduce over time due to contamination and carbon buildup. Restricted oil lines can result in the compressor passing oil or damage to the compressor's internal components. It is highly recommended to inspect and replace the oil lines at the same time the air compressor is replaced. Number 8. Air discharge. If the compressor experiences excessive buildup or recovery time or constantly cycles, it could be an indication of restriction or leakage in the air discharge line. Inspect and replace the discharge hose and fittings as necessary to prevent air leakage or air restrictions. The line for the air discharge must be installed under the following conditions. Number 9. Air tank reservoirs. Inspect and ensure the air tanks are completely drained to prevent accumulated liquids and contaminants from entering the air system and damaging the compressor, governor, and other system components. A compressor that constantly cycles is another indication that there may be excessive tank reservoir contaminants. For more information and support, refer to Special Instruction REHS 0121 Air Compressor Installation Instruction or contact your local CAT dealer.